Book 1, Chapter 1, Finding the True Self. Every time we create identifications or internalize an experience as the experience itself and not as a path to reach self-realization, we create boundaries and separation from our inner nature. When you experience something, the most typical thing that happens is that we perceive it as an external experience. We think something is happening to us. Rarely we internalize the experience and we say, how is this experience helping me define myself right now? How is the experience going to help me get to a better understanding about myself? And then when we cling into observing and judging the experience as good, bad, sad, happy, whatever it is, it's not always bad. It could also be a joyful experience, and we think and we stay there because we're feeling some kind of joy or some sort of happiness. It could be temporary. That's what happens with some emotions. That's what happens with addiction, for example. It makes us feel good for a while. But then when we find that that experience is not really who we are, then we start suffering. And the moment that we use the experience to define us, to help us find out more about ourselves, instead of just looking at the experience as something that is happening to us, the experience ends, because the experience is not meant to last forever. The experience is only a vehicle for self-realization. So when something seems difficult, when something seems just too overwhelming, you really can't deal with this experience anymore, you need to switch your perspective. Instead of only looking at the experience and just complaining about it, think about how you can use the experience to find yourself. What about it you're resisting? You're resisting the experience because you don't want to accept something about yourself, or you're resisting the experience because you got used to thinking something about yourself that you're finding out that is not true anymore. Either way, the experience should be a vehicle for self-realization. An experience is nothing on itself. It really is only a vehicle. So the moment that we switch our perspective and we internalize everything comes from an inner perspective rather than just from the outside. We stop being victims from experiences, victims from people, victims from anything. Because then we start realizing that how we internalize those experiences is really what counts, not really what happens outside. That's just a theater. It's just like something that we're observing with our eyes. But the subjective internalization of that experience is what really matters. So we have to be very careful how we choose to internalize an experience, and we have to analyze if we are resisting the experience or if we are converting the experience into something that is not, to help us maintain the idea that we have about ourselves. Either way, more allowing and less controlling is the key for self-realization in experiences. Allow the experience to show you what it wants to show you. Lower those barriers of understanding, barriers of self-awareness, and allow the experience to be, whatever it is. The same awareness that you will realize on that experience is the same inner realization that you will get. So it's something that happens apparently externally, but it's also an internalization. Switch the perspective and you will use your experiences for self-realization. You will see how much more you will live, because every experience will be one more opportunity to tell you something about yourself, to show you something that you're missing about yourself that could help you really experience life fully. Very good, guys. Until the next one.